The Utah Jazz are in an incredible position. And also, what happened to my face? Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, like always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. So let's just talk about it first because I don't love looking at it when I look at the screen. But what happened to my face? Well, I had to go to the skin doctor to get some moles removed. You probably noticed them because you watched this show. This guy has a lot of moles. Well, had to have them removed. Luckily, and there's one here too. Luckily, no cancer. Makes me very happy. I also had something on my chest that I needed looked at. Turns out I'm clean. Very happy about that. So anyways, make sure, by the way, you go get your checkups. I got some checkups to do. I'm of the age at this point that I should be doing more. So anyways, just a little health update for the Hoops Nerd, I guess. But anyways, things are good, so I'm happy about that. All right, so let's go into this. I was thinking about this today. The Cleveland Cavaliers had a successful offseason, I guess, because they were able to re-sign Donovan Mitchell to an absolutely massive contract. Donovan Mitchell signs an over $200 million contract to go to a 4-year, $273 million maximum contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that is going to go into effect with him being in his 30s with this contract as a small guard. Pretty interesting to see how that goes. That was the best thing that the Cleveland Cavaliers did this offseason. And why does this matter for the Jazz? Well, we own pick rights for them still, 2028 and 2029 and 2027 with swaps that we own. Next year, Utah made all these trades that they did and continued to get in trades, picks from the Walker Kessler trade. But that Cleveland Cavaliers trade is looking a lot better because this Cavs team looks like it might be on the verge of decline. If you didn't see, it was all over everywhere that the Cleveland Cavaliers did not get LeBron James, which might have put them in an interesting spot in the Eastern Conference. And he signed a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers, which likely would have been somewhat the deal with the Cavaliers. But that did not happen. So they are left having lost multiple players. Now, they weren't like these big name players, but they were role players, and it was depth. And when you sign someone like Donovan Mitchell to a $273 million contract that will go into his 30s as a small guard, that's pretty scary, I'll be honest. If I'm a Cavs fan, it's, you do keep him because what else are you going to do? But at the same time, it's one injury to him, and holy cow, this Cavs team just falls apart. But they lose Dean Wade, they lose Keon Ellis, they lose Larry Nance Jr. Now, those aren't like major names that are going to swing the needle too much, but at a certain point, you start losing depth because you have these max contracts that eat up your cap space, and then all of a sudden, the depth does catch up to you. And this Cavaliers team is teetering a little bit. They are still waiting to see if they are going to sign James Harden. I have to say, as a Jazz fan and someone who knows that the Jazz have a real investment in what the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing, the fact that their entire future hinges on Donovan Mitchell and potentially James Harden, who has not even re-signed, who knows if that even happens, things are going well. Things are going well, and it can only get worse. I truly hope they re-sign James Harden to another big contract. Next year, Utah will get rights to the Cleveland Cavaliers pick. Now, how it works based off of the trades the Jazz have done, and I believe it's with the Memphis Grizzlies trade. Next year, Utah gets the second best pick of Minnesota, Cleveland, and Utah. So they get the second best of those picks. In all likelihood, that might be their own pick, to be honest. If Cleveland has a bad year, if Minnesota has a great year again, and Utah is just somewhere in the middle, they keep their pick. Or if, Utah isn't, either way, Utah's going to keep their pick, probably going to be a mid to late, mid first round, right? I think Utah is going to win more games than people think, even with the Walker Kessler trade being done and bringing on Yusuf Nurkic. By the way, if you watch the advanced stats with Nurkic and Kessler the last 2 years, Nurkic is pretty comparable to what Kessler put out. I actually don't think there's going to be a lot of drop off. I think the only thing with Nurkic is just the defense will be somewhat noticeable because he is not as mobile as Walker Kessler was, although I think Walker Kessler was a little overrated in his movement. Maybe that's me just being a petty Jazz fan, but it is what it is. But anyways, tell you what, watch the depth of this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Watch how they start losing even more and more. They miss out on LeBron James, so they are going into this season worse than they were last year. Right? I mean, they won games with James Harden. They had their honeymoon period. If they give him a contract and he ends up just getting worse like he has with each team he's been on, ending in some sort of trade like every team he's been on, things get better and better for Utah. And it is just one bad season from Donovan Mitchell, 1 year where he just tapers off. That is going to help the Utah Jazz. Now, a lot of people thought that LeBron James was going to choose the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think LeBron James saw the situation in Cleveland and saw the situation with the Philadelphia 76ers, and he made his choice. And that right there tells you something as well. He saw the situation with Mitchell. He saw the situation with all the young players they have in Philadelphia. He said no to playing with Donovan Mitchell and said yes to playing with Maxey and Edgecombe and Jaylen Brown, right? Now, the Cavaliers still have Evan Mobley. They still have Jared Allen. Though that front court is still there. And we've even seen some rumors of Utah being somewhat interested or connected to Jared Allen. We'll see how much that is real. I personally think that would be a great idea because I think if you're going to actually go for it, then go for it. Right. And, Utah was going to give the money to Walker Kessler that they'd likely give to Jared Allen if they bring him on. And if they can make something happen with these picks to make that happen, then that's great. I think Jared Allen would be a great addition. But the good news for the Jazz is they don't have to do anything. Utah has Yusuf Nurkic. They have Jackson Hayes. They have Mo Bamba, who honestly I don't think is going to play. But they have centers on the roster. They don't have to make a move. And Jaren Jackson, I think at times in spot minutes will play center with some lineups, just maybe for a little bit of offensive punch and things like that. But the idea that Jaren Jackson will play center, guys, should be forgotten. That's not something that Utah should and is probably going to do because it takes away what makes him great. And what makes him great is playing off of a standard center, and he becomes fantastic in that role. That's what Utah needs to do. That's why they are bringing on these centers, and that's what they plan to do with Jaren Jackson. He's not a center. That's been proven, whether it was the Olympics or with Memphis. Jaren Jackson won Defensive Player of the Year at the power forward spot, and he shoots the ball well enough from three and does all the things that you want a power forward to do. He's just massive. So that's just the way it's going to be. And Utah's going to be good with him at that spot. Honestly, if Utah does find some sort of deal or some way to bring on a center like a Jared Allen or someone like that in that center spot playing with Jaren Jackson and with this young core and Lauri Markkanen, this Jazz team is so much better than people think. And this is going on a little longer than I thought, which is fine. But I saw on FanDuel, writing for SLC Dunk, that the Utah Jazz over-under is 36.5 wins. It's pretty crazy. I think Utah is easily going to be over 36.5 wins. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do the Jazz win 37 games or more next season? Let me know what you think. And also, should the Jazz do something at the center spot? Should they go trade for Jared Allen? Should they go trade for someone else? I think they should, but at the right price. And if the right price doesn't come around, if there's a team that doesn't have any sort of desperation, then Utah shouldn't really worry about it because they can always just draft a center next year. Yusuf Nurkic has 2 years on his contract. So Utah could draft a center next summer. If they turn out to be a solid part of the future, then great. They can just replace Nurkic as they develop into that role. And we know that Jackson Hayes can play as a backup center, and he's fine in that role. So Utah is in a good spot, but they should think about getting better, because are we here to win a championship, or are we here to just make the right move all the time? We'll see. Anyways, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Utah is going in the right direction. The Cavaliers are not, and that helps Utah.